Welcome to Roundtable, folks, the NPFL podcast where we are talking all things bass fishing leading up to the next major tournament on our trail this year. My name is Ken Duke. We are live from Mossback Distillery in Jefferson City, Tennessee. This is a cool place. If you ever have a chance to check out Mossback Distillery, you will be impressed. This is like the coolest club I've ever been into. If they knew I was here, they'd probably throw me out. But we are here for Stop 3 on Douglas Lake. As I like to say, 30,600 acres of water, 513 miles of shoreline, 115 professional anglers, but just one red, white, and blue trophy. Competition begins Thursday. That's 2 days from now on May 22nd. It's a 3-day derby, as you must know. We just finished the third and final official practice day, and I am here with one of the guys who's always a good pick to do well in a tournament. His name is Jason Burroughs. He's from Hodges, South Carolina. He's a second-year NPFL Pro. Jason, welcome to Roundtable.
Yeah, man. How's it going?
It's going good so far. We're in a cool place. Have you ever been here before?
I hadn't, but it is a very cool place.
It's neat. Now, Jason, like I said, is fishing his second year with the NPFL, and in those 8 events he's fished so far, he's had 3 top 10s and 6 in-the-money finishes. That is a stellar record.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it definitely takes hard work and getting lucky sometimes, I think.
That's too good a record to attribute to luck. But before we get started, I want to dig in, learn a lot more about your fishing style and stuff like that, Jason. But you just won a major tournament. You just won the second Fishers of Men Berkeley Classic Series National Championship at Lake Murray.
I did, man. Phenomenal lake. The best lake in the country, I say.
Now, you're from Hodges, South Carolina, which is not too far from Murray. How far are you from Murray?
About 1 hour and 45 minutes.
Okay, that's not too bad. And I know you love Lake Murray. What is it that makes, and we're going to get into this in a minute, but what is it that makes Lake Murray such a favorite for you?
Man, I guess, and I say there's a lot of people that would say Santee is the best lake in South Carolina, but Santee, and it is coming back with the grass, but you see some huge bags down there. Like when we were there's some 30-pound bags, but people catch 6 or 7 bass all day and weigh 30 pounds. At Murray, you can go down there and catch 5 limits of 4-pounders. Like you can catch 25 4-pounders in a day. Like it's definitely got them.
I grew up on the upper end of Murray, and of course, even back then it had quite a reputation as a striper lake. Is it still got a reputation for stripers?
Man, it's got the DNR. They could take a couple years off. We caught, when we won that tournament, we caught 100 a day.
Stripers?
Stripers.
Wow.
Yeah, trying our best not to catch them. That was catching some and moving, trying to catch some bass mixed in with them. But it's got them in it. Way more stripers than bass, for sure.
Well, you're off to a great start this season with the NPFL. You're in the top 10 in the AOI race. What goals do you have as a pro angler for this season in the NPFL?
Man, my goal last year, and I accomplished it, and my goal again this year, and I know I'm in 10th now, but it's a long season, and these are some true killers that we're dealing with out here. And I've never been to most of these places. I'd never been to Norman. I'd never been here, never been to Oklahoma, never been to St. Lawrence. Been to Logan Martin one time, but a total different time of the year. So
yeah,
I've got my work cut out just to make the top 40, and that's definitely the goal.
Yeah, you went to Logan Martin last year for your very first NPFL event. You did very well.
I did. Yeah, total different time of year.
Well, it was early in the year then. It was cold. It was muddy. Some of the toughest fishing conditions anybody can imagine. I mean, cold and muddy is about as bad as it gets. You're going to be going this time, I think, in September.
Yeah, September.
Likely to be tough again, but a different kind of tough probably.
Yeah, that's right. I'm definitely not a huge fan of the fall, but we'll see. We'll sure I'll go do a little bit of pre-fishing before it cuts off and try to be as prepared as I can be.
My favorite question, Jason, to ask any pro angler, and I've asked hundreds of them this question through the years, is if you had to describe your fishing style, and I said to you, you can't use the word versatile, how would you describe it?
I like to be on the move. I guess a good example is, when you go to Florida, you get around a few fish, you need to stay. And when I go to Florida, I'm always on the move, and I don't ever catch anything there. So I definitely like to be on the move. I like to be fast-paced and fishing for aggressive fish. Try to find 5 big ones that'll bite, and not begging any to bite. They don't bite, we're on the move, looking for one that will bite.
I like that style. I mean, that's a traditional power fisherman, moving bait kind of style. A guy like Kevin Van Dam has that style.
Sure.
Know? And it made a lot of sense to me because the way Van Dam, I think, has explained it in the past is he would say he's trying to get every fish that wants to eat, rather than a guy who's going to be a finesse guy maybe, or even a pitcher and a flipper who's trying to catch every fish in an area.
Yeah, that's right. I know that's like here. There's 4 million bushes, and I'm sure you're going to see everybody pitching in bushes and throwing something and sitting there. I might have something to pitch in a bush that one don't get my frog or one don't get my buzzbait, but you're not going to see me just pick up something and start flipping bushes.
Okay, so you think this tournament's going to be one shallow or deep, or what do you think?
I think it'll definitely be one deep, but I think there'll be some checks made on the bank, but I say they're definitely leaving. They're headed out.
Gotcha. You've just finished 3 days of practice out here, the first 3 days you've ever spent on this lake, if I understood you correctly.
That's correct. Yes, sir.
What is it you're trying to accomplish each of those 3 days in practice? Like day one, what's your goal?
I just try to get something started and then build on it. Normally when I'm breaking down a lake, you don't want to be 20 miles apart. You don't want to find a little something at the dam today and then you find a little something else 20 miles up the river tomorrow. So I really, really try to just figure out a little something day one. And it's like putting a puzzle together. For me, I never win practice because if I catch just a couple doing something, then I'm trying to do something else. And then if I've got a few pieces of the puzzle, I try to put them all together come Thursday. And it definitely don't pay to catch them during practice.
No, you didn't. Nobody wants to win practice. That's the worst thing you can do probably.
Day one. And it's like putting a puzzle together. For me, I never win
feedback?
Practice because if I catch just a couple doing something, then I'm trying to do something else. And then if I've got a few pieces of the puzzle, I try to put them all together come Thursday, and it definitely don't pay to catch them during practice.
We're getting a lot of feedback here. I don't know if that's something that we can take care of on this end, or Mike's probably got it back at the studio. But we just basically heard the last. We just basically had to heard the last 15 seconds of the show repeated to us in the headphones. So hopefully y'all at home are not having that experience, and you're able to hear us just fine. Okay, we're going to keep going and see if we can work through the issues, but hopefully it won't be anything. Oh, okay. Brad did that. Brad does everything for the NPFL because he's the president. That's what the president does, right?
That's it.
Okay, so you're getting more and more dialed in. All right, I'm going to ask you some questions. If they're too specific, if it's too much detail to give up right now, you just say, Ken, back off.
I'm good.
But when you start this tournament in a couple of days, Thursday, how many rods and reels are you going to have on the deck of your boat?
Man, it's not going to be many, and that don't mean that I'm going to catch them on them, but I'm going to be committed to catching them. I'm going to start out like everybody, and the first day that I came here, I found a little small shad spawn. It wasn't real good, but it was just in a small area, and I got some bites, and I really hoped to build on it the next 2 days, and I struck out. I've been up at daylight every morning and fished till almost dark every day, so like 14 or 15-hour days. And the last 2 days, shad spawn hadn't been any good for me, so I'll start out with a swim jig and a frog like everybody else, and fish one little area that had some fish in it Sunday morning. Have no idea, hadn't been there, so I hope that puzzle piece fits. But then after that, I'm probably going to stay shallow, just fishing some bushes and trying to get a few bites. Depends on how many fish I've got when I leave the little shad spawn, and after that, I'm going to move out, fish out deep. Really not on them out there, but they're headed out there. I've caught some out there every day, but I'm going to be looking for them through the tournament.
Now, when I think of when you talk about a frog, you're talking about a hollow body frog or like a buzz frog?
A popping frog.
Okay, a popping frog. So a hollow body popping frog.
Yeah.
When I think of a popping frog like that, or I think of a swim jig, I think of that. Those are great techniques and baits to catch a real quality fish.
Yeah, I don't know if any of them live here, but.
Well, that's a great point. We've had tournaments. I've looked at the tournament track records out here through the years, and it was it was a much stronger lake, say 10, 15 years ago, in terms of what it produced and the size of the fish it produced too. There were some occasional 7-pounders caught, but in the last 5 or 6 years, that number's come down quite a bit.
Yeah, you look at past results and you don't really know. Like, I've heard people say it's going to take 13 pounds a day to get a check here. I'd bet it don't, but we'll see. If it does, I'm going to be in trouble unless I do run into them. But you see, like, there was a BFL here a couple years ago and 12 pounds wins. Like, how does 12 pounds win? And then I think there was an open tournament, a team tournament, where they used scope last Saturday, and 17 won, but 13 was second, like 100 boats. So
big gap, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when second place is 13 with a bunch of locals and 100 boats, man, I know a lot of people win practice, but come Thursday, they're going to post the results on the internet.
Yes, sir. On Thursday, we find out what people really have. On Thursday, to a great extent, even the field of anglers find out what they've got, because a lot of guys, because you're not trying to hook a lot of fish.
Yeah, that's right.
During practice, you're going to find out to a degree what you have as well, aren't you?
Sure.
What do you think about if I had the power, the magical power? Brad Fuller gave me the magical power to give you 45 pounds for this tournament. Would you take it and sleep in?
I think you'll win.
Oh, you think it's good enough to win?
I'll take 10 pounds less. I'll take 35.
You wouldn't take 35 to win, though, would you?
No, but I'll take 35. I'll be home tonight. Y'all can send a check. You can write one with my name on it if you give me 35.
That might only be good for, I don't know, 15th place or something.
I'll take it. On to the next one.
All right, now we're talking about your 10th place in Angler of the Year right now, I believe.
That's right.
And obviously a goal is to win Angler of the Year. And to win it against the guys who are fishing now in the NPFL, that is a major accomplishment.
Sure.
So that means you're looking at how many points you can accumulate at each event.
Mm-hmm.
You're paying attention. You know you've got to avoid disaster. You've got to avoid 50th and worse if you want to have a legit shot to win AOY.
Yeah, I don't know if you can have a 40 or 50 with this group.
In years past, you couldn't because the league was so top-heavy, I think. I feel like the league was more top-heavy. This year, I feel like there's a lot more talent in the league than there has been. And I'm not saying you can afford to finish 50th or 60th and still have a shot at AOY, but I think you might be able to be high 30s and still get it done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I already finished 29th. So
you're fine. You finished 29th and you're in 10th place now.
That's right.
Even Jason Christie, who won the first event at Santee, he had a real slip at Norman, and now I want to say Jason Christie's in the 20s, isn't he, for AOY?
Somewhere like that.
And I'm not writing him off yet.
Yeah, probably.
Especially going to Oklahoma.
You could probably write him off on AOY.
I don't know.
Whoever wins AOY might trade him that $100,000 he got at Santee, though.
Well, that's the other thing. Last couple of years, the guy who has won AOY didn't win a tournament.
That's right.
First couple of years they did. Again, example of the league being maybe top-heavy. But Todd Goade in 2023, Kyle Welcher in 2024, neither of those guys won a Derby. So from a financial level, you're better off to win an event maybe than to win AOY.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, to me, winning an event means more than winning AOY.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, people remember when you win.
That's very true. That's very true. Hard to argue with that.
I've done some winning before, and I don't know anybody that finished second.
All right, that's a fair statement. I get you. But don't you think that the more prestigious title is AOY?
Maybe.
Come on, maybe. To me, there's winning an event is great. Winning an event, A, locks up a spot in the championship. B, it's the biggest payout you can possibly get. But beyond that, if the money were equal, I think AOY is more impressive because it shows a level of excellence over the course of 6 regular season tournaments. You're not with me on that?
That's an opinion. I want to be a winner. I take chances to try to win. I'd rather have a chance to win a tournament than go through the year trying to make top 10s.
And you've been very successful with that. You're telling me that you're going to swing for the fences some just for the chance to win, And I've known a lot of guys who had that attitude mentally or said they had that attitude mentally, but most of them have the occasional bomb. You haven't had the bombs.
Yeah, I did last year.
Where did you bomb?
My favorite lake.
Oh, well, that stings. It stings, but
My worst finish to the NPFL came at Lake Murray.
I hear you. Now, how much of that was the fact that you launched your boat and you knew 500 places you could catch a fish?
I didn't know any places. I'd never even seen it in the wintertime.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
You'd never gone there in December?
No, I don't even fish in December. I never, like everybody knows from me from Hartwell, I don't fish Hartwell either. I go coon hunting in December.
And you don't just go coon hunting. You go like professional competitive coon hunting.
I enjoy it, yeah.
Is that as all-encompassing an endeavor in the winter as bass fishing is for you the rest of the year? Does it just suck up everything you got?
It means more to win a coon hunt.
What's a good payoff for a coon hunt?
You can win $100,000.
Wow.
Yeah, they give away trucks every month.
But you got to share it with the dogs, right?
Yeah. They're a lot harder to win. I'd say that.
It's tougher to win a what do you call it? Do you call it a
competition?
Competition?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. To me, it's a lot harder to win.
I hear you. Now, it's obviously easier to pack the kennels than it is to hook up the bass boat and head down the road. How far do you travel for these competitions?
You go 10 or 12 hours. Yeah, just like fishing.
Is it a thing outside the Southeast?
Oh, yeah. More up north.
Okay.
Most real big hunts are up north.
What are the breeds of dogs that you use for that?
Walker dogs. Yeah. Coon dogs cost the same as a bass boat.
Oh, man. If that's not too personal a question, what is a championship level coon dog go for?
A real winner?
A real winner.
75,000.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
100,000.
So it's almost like thoroughbred horse racing.
Yeah.
Their puppies go for crazy amounts too, I'm sure.
Yeah, 1,000.
Oh, is that it?
1,500. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So it's more about the trainer than it is the.
Yeah, it's more about having
the pedigree.
One winner. I mean, you can buy a good one for 10 or 15,000, but not one that's really, really a winner.
I want to get back to bass fishing, but first I got a couple more coon dog questions. Are these dogs also pets on some level, or are they just hunting dogs? No. You don't want to take that edge away.
No, they can be pets. Mine's really a pet. He's really weird, to tell you the truth. He's real laid back. You can let him out. He'll hang out in the yard. Wants to ride in the front of the truck if you let him, but he's been fooled with a bunch.
So he sleeps inside the house at night?
No, he don't. He'd love to. He messed up one of his eyes one time, and he came in for about 6 weeks. So he does good inside. Like he won't, he's house trained halfway, but no, he don't come inside.
All right, back to bass fishing.
Back to bass fishing.
Last year, let's go this year. You are killing it on day one this year. You are killing it. You are 50% better than the average angler in the field on day one. On day two, you've slipped so far. Of course, we're only talking about 2 tournaments.
Oh, that's just one bomb.
Yeah.
I caught him good the second day.
Exactly. So, but day 2 overall, you've slipped a little bit. And on day 3, you're right back. Last year, you were a model of consistency. Every day out there, you were about 35% better than the average angler in the field. And, of course, that piled on, and you were terrific in the AOY race. What were you? I'm sorry. Were you 9th last year in the AOY?
I actually fell. I fell out at the very.
Oh, that's right.
Murray, but
you did.
Yeah, I was in 3rd
My
for
bad.
3 tournaments, and then and I bombed Murray and fell to like 19th or 20th.
Yeah, but still safely inside the cut to make the championship and all that. But yeah, you were stellar until you got home.
Yeah, wintertime.
Now there's not a wintertime tournament scheduled this year. And there likely won't be. I think we're going to have probably the weather's going to get more and more stable as we get deeper in the season. Should be smooth sailing. Shouldn't be a December event.
Mm-hmm.
Absent some sort of hurricane that blows through Alabama.
Yeah.
So does that make you feel good that you're not going to have to fish a derby in late November or December?
Not really. I mean, I didn't mind it. It was just, I mean, it wasn't really that it was the winter time. It was just like a strange lake because I've never been there that time of year. It's not going to be any different going to St. Lawrence that I've never even laid eyes on, or going to Oklahoma that I don't have a clue anything about. Didn't go pre-fish. I travel and stay with Corey Casey on the road, and we normally go pre-practice for every event, and Oklahoma was like 12 foot over full, so we didn't go, didn't talk to anybody, have absolutely no information on Oklahoma, so we'll see. Get out there and give it a whirl.
Now, you travel with Corey Casey, another guy who's off to a really strong start this year. He's actually a couple of places ahead of you in the standings right now. And obviously he had a great tournament at Santee, which is his home body of water where he guides. Do you guys work together, exchange information?
It's a one-way street, and I help him every tournament. He don't ever help me.
Would he agree with that statement, or would he push back?
He's not here.
Well, that's a good point.
He might be listening, but he's not on.
Corey Casey, text me. Tell me if that's accurate information. You're not helping him at all. It's a one-way street going your way.
I hope he's finding me some right now.
But no, I thought you just said it was a one-way street when you help him.
Time to pay back.
There you go. Hey, man, I've seen Jason Burroughs in these standings. Jason Burroughs doesn't need any help.
I don't know about that. I think we all get help.
What a great point. Because you've been fishing some healthy tournaments for quite a while, and doing that, you build a network. Whether you're consciously trying to do that or not, you build a network.
Sure.
And during the time when it's okay to gather information, do you do that a lot? Do you reach out to the people you know who maybe is familiar with you fall in Oklahoma or the St. Lawrence?
I do. I do. I definitely. If I have buddies that, I do guide at Lake Hartwell, so I've took a bunch of people from out of town. Everything comes there, so the people that I know, I just didn't really know anybody at St. Lawrence or Oklahoma. It's a long, long way from my network. But yeah, of course, before January 1, if I would have knew somebody, I would have definitely got all the information I can, which to me, like, I'm not saying it don't help, it definitely helps, but you gather information in December for September.
Well, yeah, that's obviously a problem. Are you a guy who benefits from getting that information, or are you a guy who has to go there and figure it out yourself?
No, I benefit. If somebody gives me something, if you get a bunch of information, and then you get there, maybe only 15 or 20% of it's any good, it's so far out, a lot of it's no good, or the weather changes, or the lake level changes. But you might get one little piece of information that is good, and then you can build on it, and take 3 long days and put something else with it that you had leading up to the event.
You're going to a couple of places you've never seen before. You're totally unfamiliar with them, really, but you got a pretty good idea what they're like. I mean, Eufaula has got to lay out a bit like Hartwell or Murray, right? I mean, it's a Midlands type impoundment. It's going to have similar depths and contours.
The weights, I hope neither one of my lakes is anything like it.
Well, there you go. But who knows? Does that give you a good feeling that you're going to be able to go there and fish your strengths?
I don't really know. I do better once I get to a place and can see it. Like, lay eyes on it, see the watercolor, see the water level. Like with all the flooding out there, even if you would have got a bunch of information for out there and had the best guy tell you in December you're going to do this and fish here and do that, he liable to have had you fishing offshore in the summertime and, fishing brush and throwing a crankbait and doing something like that, and the fish liable to be up in the bushes because it's 4 foot up in people's yards. So you don't really know. But once we get there and I see it, I'll try my best to break it down in a couple days,
I think you're going to do great because I pay really close attention to how you do, and you're as solid as there is in the field. You're a remarkably consistent angler, and to think that the one place, well, there were two places you didn't cash a check since you started fishing the NPFL, and one of them was your favorite lake, which was a shock, but you don't fish there at that time of year, and there was only one other tournament where you didn't make a check, so that's very impressive.
Yeah, I gave away a check at Saginaw. I made that 3-hour run trying to catch smallmouth and totally bombed the first day, and then caught 15 pounds a day the second day pretty easy, and 15 pounds the third day pretty easy. But I'd caught like 22 or 23 pound of smallmouth and made the run and didn't work.
It's going to be better this time. You don't have any Saginaw Bay situations in this season. All right, Jason Burroughs, real quick, what's it going to take to win?
Man,
give me a number.
I'm probably going to be a little light, but I think that 45 number is going to get you real close. These guys might catch them out real deep, but no scope and having to just fish traditional off score like ledges and looking for them. And the fish are, to me here, they're deeper than just that 15 to 18 foot range. I think they're even further out than that. So makes it harder to get to them and harder to see. I think 15 a day is going to be close. And I give you an honest prediction. I really, really can't stand when somebody says, oh, it's going to take 15 to 17. Like 15 to 17 is a 6 pound window. 6 pounds is a bunch in this game.
It's a lot. It really is.
Yeah.
So 15 pounds from Jason Burroughs. That's a pretty conservative number, but we're going to find out.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for you, brother.
Yeah, man. I
appreciate it.
Yep.
Absolutely my pleasure. Jason, we got another guest coming on right now. We're going to be joined by Lee Rose Koza, who works for the local, the Jefferson County Department of Tourism. Jason, if you don't mind, if you could hop up and take off those headphones, we're going to give them to Lee Rose and see if we can get her over here. Hey, Brad, is Lee Rose available? Is she here with us? Okay, well, we can bring in Todd then if Todd's available. Todd is not here. It's interesting when the show doesn't go exactly as planned. Lee Rose, I'm Ken. How are you? Nice to see you. Have a seat, please. And welcome to Roundtable.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Me too.
This is awesome.
Me too. And I get to be on Roundtable all the time, but I'm still excited to be here.
Yes.
It's fun.
It is.
It's a good time.
It's something different every time.
Well, now, I know you're the program manager for the Jefferson County Department of Tourism.
Yes.
By the way, thank you for the hospitality here.
Thank you.
It's a cool area.
Yes,
Very
it
cool
is.
area.
I love it here.
What does the program manager do for the Jefferson County Department of Tourism?
It's a lot of different things.
Excellent.
Of course, tourism is so broad, and that's what I love about my job. And I grew up in the fishing industry.
Right.
I grew up fishing tournaments, so it's awesome to be on the other side of things. Now I get to bring in the tournaments, work with all sorts of organizations, but it's also, working the little festivals, working with the local businesses. It's really everything you can imagine. Or, the shops and the, just right here at the local distillery we're at. So it's really neat to just work with them on promoting, helping people come visit, stay, spend their money.
Of course, spend their money.
And then also just coming back. That's what we encourage is just, we get people here by promoting local businesses, but then, come back and visit, stay a little longer next time, So.
Of course, yeah. Now that's the lifeblood of any convention and visitors bureaus. The internal money that circulates in the county is nice. It's when you can bring in the outside money that everybody really benefits.
Yes, the out-of-state and the non-locals. Of course, we love our local community and promoting those, local events and festivals, but it's just getting those people, the outside, people live out of state and, outside of our community. So,
Lee Rose, I did my due diligence. I understand that you spent a long time working at the Dugout just outside Marietta.
Yeah. Shout out Dugout.
In Georgia. I lived and worked in that area for a long time.
Yeah.
And then I understand you went to school here at Carson Newman University. Yesterday we had Hunter Sales on, who coaches the fishing
Hunter,
team, and so he does a great ambassador for your community.
He does, and I'll have to give it to him. He is the reason I'm here today.
Oh, very nice.
He recruited me when I was in high school fishing for the state of Georgia, and I had no idea about Jefferson City, Jefferson County, Carson Newman, until he reached out when the program was very new. When I was a freshmen in 2019, it was just a team full of freshmen and sophomores. And now there's about, I believe, 35 anglers. And when I started, there was only 12. So it's definitely grown. But I'll give it to him. And when I was on the team, we worked with the local tourism department, who I work for now, working events and volunteering. And that's how I got connected there. He knew my boss, Lauren, and, knew me, of course. And so he connected us and knew it would be a good fit for me. So.
Leroy's, I got to put you on the spot like I'm
gosh.
putting most of the anglers on the spot.
Oh, gosh.
We got 3 days here on Douglas Lake.
What's
Not known for a lot of giants.
Yeah,
big fish could be
yeah.
5 something.
Yes, I feel like your average is 2 to 3 pounds.
Okay, that's very respectable.
2.5, 3 pounds. Yeah.
What do you think it might take to win?
Oh gosh. I'm
Now,
thinking.
keep in mind that you're in the tourism business, so I'm going to recommend you have a number between 80 and 90.
Gosh. Okay, I'm thinking.
You're not going to be scored on
Yeah,
how
now
close
I'm like,
you
people
are.
are gonna quote no.
Because it's not about.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it's not about the weight. It's
Yeah.
about the experience.
Right, it is.
It's about the atmosphere.
All-around atmosphere,
It's
which
about,
I hope is going well so far.
Oh, it's
I mean,
fantastic. This is a great place. My
yeah.
gosh, look at
I know.
this.
I know. This is so exciting.
Had you been here before?
Yes, we
Okay.
spend a lot of time here, and they're a great
I
local
can see
partner.
why.
Yeah. And they also just became a restaurant, Ghost and Grits. So they're kind of testing
like
out
that
their
name.
hour. Yes. They have a chef from New York that came. Okay, but back on the weights. What do I think it's going to take?
Yeah,
to win?
give me the 3-day total.
I mean, I think it's going to take 5 fish a day. Let's see, 15 to 17 a day.
Okay, yeah. So we're talking
To
about
win.
45 to 51 pounds to win.
Yeah.
Very respectable.
Yeah.
It's about what we had last time at Lake
Yes.
Norman, in fact.
Okay.
Should
Yeah.
play out the same. From what I understand, there's going to be a lot of fish caught.
Yes.
Catching the
Douglas-
limit is not
yeah.
going to be too tough.
Yes, and we have 2 lakes in our county, Douglas and Cherokee. That's why we consider ourselves the lake side of the Smokies.
There you go.
Nestled here in between both. And people say Douglas is where it's at when it comes to numbers and the quantity. But, Cherokee's full of smallmouth, and it's a little bit tougher. There's a lot of striper, but Douglas is our prime spot. So.
Well, very cool.
Yes.
All right, Leroy's Kozo, look into that camera. Tell people how to get in touch with you, how to
Okay.
learn more about your community.
Yes. Okay. So our website is visitjeffersoncountytn.com, and we're also all over social, posting all the time on Instagram and Facebook. So you guys come check us out, and we're just so excited to have you guys here for the first time. So
For the first time.
and
Hopefully not the last.
Yes, for sure. So
Make it an annual thing. You got to talk to Brad Fuller about that.
yeah, Brad and
he's the
Paul.
man.
Yep. Yeah, but I've enjoyed it so far. So
Fantastic. Yep.
Again, so
Leroy's,
thankful.
thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you to take that
Okay.
headset off
Okay.
and pass it to this guy from not far away from
Oh, my boy Todd.
here. No reunion now. Come on. Put the headset on, Todd.
Yeah.
Thank you. We save the reunions for later. You can catch up later.
Yeah,
Todd
man.
Goade, welcome to Roundtable.
Thank you.
You are no stranger to Roundtable, though. You've been around Roundtable, what, 75 times?
No, 73. I mean, but who's counting?
73 times. That's a lot. That's a lot. And I mentioned to our audience here, really, but also to Lee Rose, that you're local. You're from White Pine, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
How far are you from where we are sitting right now at the Mossback Distillery?
10 miles.
Oh, it's nothing.
Yep.
It's nothing. So you're able to sleep in your own bed at this tournament.
Absolutely.
You like
Yeah.
that? Is that a good thing?
It's been really good. First time I've really had a home event, on a tour like this, to be able to sleep in my home bed and have all the comforts of home, and have my wife there too, and then I got all these jacklegs with me back here. The Motley crew had
That's
to come
a problem.
too. So.
I don't know if I would. Those are, my grandma used to say about me and my brother. She said, "I can be proud of you. I just can't take you anywhere."
I will say though, I said this at the Amistad Championship dinner, that those guys keep me young though, like Patrick and Drew and Kimmel and.
There's
all
some
those
talent
guys.
over there
There's
for
some
sure.
There's some talent,
serious
over there,
talent
so,
over there.
yeah.
But you're some serious talent. Let's get into that for a moment. You're looking at the 2023 Progressive Angler of the Year on the National Professional Fishing League, and I'm going to rattle off some records that you may not even know about. Okay, because I'm kind of like the official record steward.
You're the stat geek.
these
huh?
days. I'm the stat geek, which is sad, but I own up to that.
I want to say, before we get going, I know my mom and dad are watching out in Lubbock, Texas. I want to say hi to my mom and dad. I love you guys.
Absolutely.
Hope we have a good week this week, and hope you get to see some good fish being caught.
After this show, I hope they're listening to Buddy Holly from Lubbock, Texas.
They big Buddy Holly fans.
Me too.
A little trivia, though. My mom actually went to high school with Mac Davis.
Is that right?
Remember Mac Davis?
I absolutely do.
Yep, out in Rawls, Texas.
Yeah,
Rawls.
Mac Davis, he had a kind of weird career where he was huge for 7 or 8 years, and then he kind of drifted into oblivion.
Yep.
What's up with that? Well,
I don't know.
We'll have the Mac Davis show another time.
He made his money doing North Dallas 40, and then after that, I guess.
He even had a TV show for a while, as I recall, way back. Anyway,
let's
talk about. Yeah, we digress. That's not good. Todd Goade. Let me tell you a little bit about Todd Goade and his track record with the NPFL. Here are some of the records Todd has. He is tied with Patrick Walters, who he hangs out with 7 consecutive top 10 finishes. Nobody's done better than that. Todd finished in the top 10 every tournament in 2023 when he won Angler of the Year. He has 11 consecutive in-the-money finishes to his credit. That is the record. The next best is 8, but you do have a couple of guys who are coming after you. Drew Cook's is one of them.
Yeah.
Welcher's another one.
Yeah.
They have 8. They're working their way up that list. And Zach Burge is at 7. So you may have company. But you're still a record holder at 11. You have caught 23 consecutive limits at one point, which is the league record, tied with Jesse Millsaps. But more potentially bad news for you, Drew Cook has got 22.
Yeah.
So if he catches 5 on Thursday, he's going to tie you, and he has a chance to surpass you and Jesse Millsaps this week right here on your home lake. Kind of insult to injury, huh?
No, he'll do it. He'll catch bass. He's got gills. If you look at him real close, he's got gills. He catches bass. So
he catches them everywhere.
That record's going down this week. So
well, that's
and that's records are made to be broken, right?
Oh, not if I set them. If I set a record, I want it to stay. I want it to outlast me.
But if anybody's going to beat one of my records, I mean, I'm a humble guy. I don't keep up with that. You keep up with that. I just go out there and fish. But if anybody's going to do it, I'm glad it's him or Patrick or any of my buddies. So.
Those are a couple of guys who are very likely to be breaking records. Anyway, but I do like the records. I think they tell a story. You have the record for most weight caught in a single NPFL season. When you were Angler of the Year, you caught 278 pounds or 1 ounce of bass.
Wow.
You caught a lot more, but that's what you brought to the stage. So an incredible year.
And I only had 4 at Pickwick the first day.
That's
crazy.
And that gets back to a record that I think has a significant chance of falling this year. Nobody in NPFL history has ever limited every day of a season. Some guys have come very close. You've come very close. Drew Cook did not limit on the first day of last year. After that, smooth sailing. Isaac Peavyhouse failed to catch a limit on the next to last day of the season last year. There have been a bunch of guys who've come close. Maybe this is the year it gets done.
It was that day at Pickwick, and that year was just one of those special years that you probably never ever duplicate. It was just one of those magical years. But I lost a fish the first day at Pickwick that clued me in on what I needed to be doing, and he broke my line, and I ended up catching like 18 pounds the next day doing that. But the one fish I lost, even though I didn't have 5, kick-started me into that event and got me. I think I finished 10th in that event. But,
remarkable season. Truly the most impressive NPFL season anybody's turned in. Going to be a lot tougher to have 6 top 10 finishes with the field that surrounds you now.
Absolutely. Yeah, you have
I
to
don't
catch
think
them
it can
every
be
day.
done again.
I don't either. It takes a special year. I think when Fighter won Angler of the Year and Bass that one year, I think he did it, or maybe it was Polinick. One of the two. I mean, they had a big string of top 10s. I don't know if it was every event, but
the best elite season ever actually belongs to Aaron Martins. Back in 2013, I was working at Bass at the time. That was the highest average finish anybody ever turned in. But we'll talk about that another time. I want to get to know a little bit more about your fishing style. You're a Tennessee guy. You're entrenched in the style of fishing that is so effective around here and other places too, because you obviously catch them everywhere you go. But how would Todd Goade describe his fishing style in just a few words? And you cannot use the word versatile.
Why did you have to do that?
Because everybody wants to say, well, I'm pretty versatile. And I'm sure you are, because you don't have 7 top 10s in a row if you're not versatile. But
well, open-minded comes to mind because
very nice.
Because I was fortunate, when I got out of college, I was in the restaurant business, and my dad was in the same company, worked for years, but I moved around a lot, and I got to fish in a lot of different areas of the country.
Right.
And being from East Tennessee, and you could ask anybody that's, that lives up here, like, Ott Defo or even Mullins or somebody like that, and they'll tell you, if you can catch them in East Tennessee, you can catch them about anywhere you go in the country. Because the fish, it's a different style of fishing here.
Okay, but would you say the same thing about Ohio, where the fishing is just brutally tough? Because there's some things you don't have here in East Tennessee. I don't think you have a ton of grass.
There's some. I mean, Chickamauga's got grass. Watts Bar has grass.
Do you have standing timber?
Not much. No.
So I think there are a few things. When I think of a place that's really maybe got it all on some level, I think Alabama kind of has it all.
It does. Yeah.
I think maybe Texas has it all.
Georgia, South Carolina, those 2 states are pretty good.
Yeah, they have versatile type fisheries.
And really one of the things that really made me a real well-rounded angler back in the day is I was fortunate to meet Tom Mann Jr. like in 2005 or 6, and
incredible finesse fisherman from the Lake Lanier area.
Yes.
Just a top-notch finesse guy. Now I think is he still living down in South Florida, guiding on Okeechobee?
He guides at Okeechobee, and I got a back seat in his boat when he was fishing bass and the FLW Tour, and our buddy Rusty, we played golf together. The 3 of us played a million holes of golf.
Tom Mann Jr. is an excellent golfer, as are you. You're like a 5 handicap, right?
Used to be. I don't play that much anymore, but I can still beat it around a little bit.
What did Tom Mann Jr. get around in back then? About the same?
He was pretty much a scratch golfer back then, yeah. But I got to learn how to fish for offshore spotted bass. So, I take the power fishing skills of East Tennessee and deep cranking and throwing a jig and things like that. But we have smallmouth fishery, an hour from here at South Holston. So you had to learn finesse techniques to catch smallmouth.
And you got Dale Hollow not too far away, and that's the most legendary smallmouth water on the planet.
Yep. And so you take all of that, moving around the country, learning how to catch spotted bass, and then, fishing in East Tennessee and fishing around the country. I think it's just I don't know. I seem to find bass wherever we go. It just seems to. I just seem to kind of figure it out, and as the week progresses and the event and practice progress, I seem to kind of usually put a little something together. And I'm still thinking about Norman. I mean, to lose those 3 fish, and the weights were so tight, and to not really do anything wrong and just have the fish, 2 of them were on a swim jig, and just have them not get the bait good. And I love Lake Norman. It's a great lake. It fishes really well. It fishes to my strengths. And just to finish 61st there, that stung. That really, that lit a fire under me to really, bear down. And because, I think most of us in this room have the same 3 goals when the season starts. They want to win an event. They want to win Angler of the Year, but they want to qualify for the championship too.
Yeah, that's the safety valve position.
That's the safety
qualify
valve
for the
position.
championship.
Yes. So I'm still in the 2 out of 3 range. So
you're in great shape on 2 out of 3. You came up to me, I think, or one day you were coming off the stage, and I think it was at Santee, and you had a tough day, and you had said, "There goes AOY."
That was at Norman. I was sitting in the boat before I went up to weigh, and you come up beside the boat, and I was really frustrated because I knew when I lost those fish that I'd pissed AOY away. It was just because, like you said, against this field and these anglers, you can't have a day like I had that second day.
Yep, you hear people talk about it and say it's a long season. Well, it's not a long season. It's 18 days.
It's 18 days.
If we're lucky.
Yes, if we're lucky.
If we're lucky and there are no cancellation days or something like that.
With 6 events, you have to catch them every day. You have to catch them all 18 days.
Now, here we are on your home lake. You've got a ton of experience out here. You know this place, I would say, better than anybody else.
Probably not. I wouldn't say that. I know it. I know it very well, but there's a lot of people that know it pretty well too. So.
In the field?
I don't know about in the field. But,
okay, so in the field, you know it as well as anybody. Is that a good thing, or is that on some level a bad thing?
So Brandon Cobb's a pretty good buddy of mine, and when they were at Hartwell a couple weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, he struggled, and he said something on live that I've remembered, and he ran around trying to do too many things because he has so much experience there. And this whole week of practice, I have been focused on really 3 different ways to catch them, maybe 4, where I'm not running all over the place. I'm here doing this. I'm 2 or 3 miles away doing this. I'm 2 or 3 miles over here doing that. I'm in an area. I'm doing some different things, but I'm really not trying to get, I wouldn't say spun out, but just run around and end up making a bad decision or end up getting in a bad rotation, and the next thing you know, you got 7 pounds when you come in. So
there's a reason Todd Goade is my last guest on Roundtable before this event, because I do think you have greater experience and a greater background here than anybody else I could have on the show. You have an unparalleled resume in the NPFL. And I think these next few questions, as we get into what's coming up here on Douglas Lake, I think you can take us deeper and better into it than anybody else I might be able to talk to. So let me ask you some basic questions, and we'll dive in a little bit more as we go. How many rods will be on your deck when you launch on Thursday?
Well, you always got to have 2 or 3 decoys, So
how many rods, not counting decoys? How many rods, not counting decoys, will be on your deck?
There might be 7 or 8
that are in the game.
Yeah, they're in the game.
Okay, 7 or 8. That's not a lot of rods.
Yeah, it's not a lot.
Did you accomplish in these 3 days of official practice what you hoped to accomplish?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I did.
That's strong.
And I didn't think I was going to after the first day and a half of practice. And today, something that usually happens here in April and it kind of goes away actually came to me today in 2 or 3 places that I thought it was kind of past it. But I think because the lake's been kind of low and they've been clearing the debris and they haven't brought the lake up. So when they did, and we've had some cool nights too, and the water's really not that hot still. It's 73, 74 degrees. One of the things I was thinking I was going to be able to catch them doing might actually play. I didn't think it would on Sunday or Monday because I fished quite a bit of it, and it didn't. But today, I shook off 6 or 7 bites today doing it. So, and I did catch 1 4-pounder. We just wouldn't let it go. So
that's almost a shame.
Yeah, because a 4-pounder is a rarity out there. I mean,
it's a big fish here. Yeah, something less than 5 could be a big fish for the whole tournament.
Yeah, somebody will catch a 5-pounder. I mean, last year, to give you some stats, last year there were only 2 20-pound bags caught out here in all the tournaments that they had. This year there's been 1 6-pounder caught. And I think it was 2 weeks ago they had a big casting for kids tournament out here, and one of my buddies, Jimmy Neese, and his son Corey won with like 19-something. So a big bag's out there to be had, but I still think it's going to take an average of 16 a day to win. Like somebody will catch 19, 18 or 19, and then it'll be 18, 13, 13, or 12, 14, something like that.
That's the biggest number I've heard anybody throw out in my conversations since I got here. 48's a big number. 16 a day.
I think 16 a day wins it. Yeah.
So if I could give you 16 a day, 48 pounds, you'd sleep in.
We'll have pizza at the dock, and I'll give you a slice. I won't.
I'll give you 48 for one slice.
You give me 40. I'll give you the whole pie for 40. You give me 48.
Now we're talking. I'll ask Brad for permission.
Yeah.
All right. Now I'm going to give you 3 options here. Well, I want you to evaluate the options. Will this tournament be won on a spot? Will this tournament be won on a pattern? Or will this tournament be won on multiple patterns?
Yes.
Thank you. That was the intro I was looking for. No, that's not an option. You had A, B, or C?
I don't think it'll be one off of one spot.
Okay.
It'll be one off the same kind of spots.
So a pattern.
It'll be a pattern. Yeah.
Will it be more than, will the guy who wins have to have an early morning shallow water pattern and a sun's up offshore pattern?
I don't know about that, but I know it's going to take 2 to 4 patterns probably to win.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can it be won in less than 5 feet of water?
I can't say. I'll be giving it away. There's too many watching this tonight.
You just gave me a very dead stare when you answered that question, Todd.
Well, yeah, I can't give the goods away.
I feel like I was getting close to something there.
There are bass 5 feet deep, yes, but there are also bass 25 foot deep too.
That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
And obviously, everybody's got their own skill sets. Not everybody's as versatile as Todd Goade. Not everybody can catch them in 5 feet and then turn around and catch them in 25 feet. So some guys will be focused on one or the other. And I've had all those types of guys on the show this week. And maybe to a man they've been a little bit frustrated. But I'm talking to you after 3 days of practice. I was talking to them after 1 or 2. If you had to pick a reasonable depth range of, say, I'm giving you 5 feet either way, what would be the depth you think this tournament might go down at?
10 to 12.
10 to 12, okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's very interesting. I think that is kind of a tweener range.
And, this lake used to be so good years ago. The places I'm catching them on, you could catch 18 to 22 off of them, but there's still fish there. I mean, I could literally...
18 to 22 fish or 18 to 22 pounds?
Pounds.
And 5 fish.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
The way the lake is now, there's so many 1.5 to 2 pound fish in it. You could pull up on one of those places and catch 15, 3 or 4 of these kind of places and catch 15 to 17 pounds, or you could catch 10 pounds. That's maybe the guys you had on the show earlier that were frustrated. It's one of those things you got to have enough of those kind of places to rotate through and get lucky and get one of those good bites. I will say too that smallmouth are going to play this week too.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I've caught 2 nice smallmouth in practice on places that they typically get on, and they were, in that high 3 and 3/4, 3.5, 3 3/4 pound range. Those will play.
Are limits going to be relatively easy to come by?
I think so. Yeah, I think most of the field will catch a limit. You could take a shaky head and stop on any point and catch 5 12-inchers. I mean, that is a given on this place.
That means your friend Drew Cook's going to have your record before we leave here.
Correct. Yeah, he will have that record.
I don't know why I think that's a cool record. I think that's kind of like Joe DiMaggio's hitting streak,
It is.
If you catch a limit every day, you're going to qualify for a lot of championships.
It's like one of those, if you bat 300, you're in the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely.
Kind of
Absolutely. Yeah. That's just a cool stat. All right. You've got a lot of NPFL records. A lot of them. You're all over that record book. What NPFL record would you like to have that, I'd like to win 17 championships. I'd like to be the first one to fish 400 NPFL events. So not anything that's almost mathematically impossible, but what would be a record you'd like to have, because you're all over the record book?
I do have one really lofty goal, because I'm not a bragging type person. I'm very understated, but I don't know how many more years I'm going to do this. I mean, I'll be 57 this year. I'm in good health. I love chasing bass. I'm just as excited to set the hook on a bass at 57 than I was when my dad took me fishing at 7. So, and the day that goes away is the day I quit fishing. But yeah. I love it to the core. But I told my wife when this season started, I do have one goal, and it's a very lofty one, and it's one you have to catch lightning in a bottle 2 more times. I really would love to be the first NPFL angler to have an AOY trophy, a regular event trophy, and a championship trophy. That's the that's the goal.
One down.
That's the goal.
One down. And nobody has two of those. Well, a couple of guys. Well, Keith Carson has two of those. Gary Adkins has two of those. Neither of those guys has won a championship.
Yeah.
But you've got the AOY, which, to my way of thinking, is the hardest one to get.
I think so.
And the most impressive.
I would love to sneak up and win an event this year because of the championship being at Hartwell in October. The time we're going there, the place fish is tough. And I've got a pretty good track record on Hartwell that time of year. So,
do you like a grinder?
I love a grinder.
There's no hesitation there, Todd.
I always do better in the grinders than I do the slugfest. But
why?
I don't know. I've always been an angler that can figure out how to get a bite. Not so much catch a big fish, but Santee, the last two times we've been there, I've cracked big ones both times. I mean, I had 4 for 24 the second day. I mean, that place is crazy how many big fish are in it. So I've kind of, you said I had the most weight in a season.
Yeah.
I mean, I've caught some big bass since I've been fishing the NPFL. It's probably partly where we go, what time of year we go to.
Sure, that's a big factor always. You can't control.
But I've caught a lot of big bass in the last 4 years.
Yeah, you're not going to go out here at Douglas probably and catch a 9.
No.
If you do, you got a great chance of winning that tournament.
Yes, you can ride that all the way to the trophy.
You put 4 more in the boat. I don't care what they weigh. You had a great day.
Yes.
All right. So you accomplished what you hoped to in practice.
I think so, yeah.
You know the lake, as we say, probably as well or better than anybody in the field. You're feeling good. Is this your best shot so far in your NPFL career to win? Your best shot right now, this week?
I'll have to say no.
No. Where was your best shot? Going in, I don't want Monday morning quarterbacking here.
Two different events. Santee 2 years ago when Patrick beat me.
Yeah, you were second place there.
Yeah.
Did you know that you were going to be strong going into that event, though?
I shook off a lot of bites. I knew it was going to be a good event. And I knew it was fishing tough. And that first morning, I had like 18 or 19 pounds by 11 o'clock, and I quit fishing. And had I known just how good my area was,
yeah, you wouldn't have let it rest.
I wouldn't have let it rest because the difference he beat me by was the first day difference in what he caught and what I caught. He beat me by like 3.5, 4 pounds. And
Ouch.
that's what he beat me by the first day.
Yeah.
So that one and Lanier 2 years ago, I really thought I'd have a chance to win that one. And the second day, just one of them things, they just didn't bite for me. I had like 13 pounds. But I ended up finishing third in the event. I caught 18 the last day. Caught them good the first day too, but just one of them deals. I really thought I could win that event too. So this one we'll just have to see because I'm already kind of planning my game plan out of where I want to be. First thing in the morning, first stop. It's almost like an NFL coach scripting the first 10 plays. I'm kind of trying to script the first 5 or 7 stops and go
That's
from
always
there.
confused me about the NFL scripting the first 12, 15 plays because you're different scenarios. You can run the same play at 3rd and 8 that you had planned just because it's the 3rd play. What are you doing? Occasionally it's just me and the camera, and I forget about the guests. Sorry about that, Todd. Well, man, I'll be rooting for you. I want to see you notch number 2 on that triple crown there of titles. You'll have AOY and an event. You know how it is. Everything, it's almost like you could fall out of the boat and not get wet. When it's your time, it's your time. You're going to win. I mean, I would like to. You can't win it the first day, but you can sure lose it the first day. So you lose it any day.
If I can catch 13 to 15 pounds the first day and just kind of be right there, and because I'm kind of the guy that. Probably if you looked at this stat, I usually get a little better as an event goes for the most part.
Well, I do look at that stat.
I
can tell you exactly. I can't because I don't have my notes for today, but I can tell you exactly who gets better each day and who trails off or whatever. And by the way, the best guy on day 3 this year is, of course, Greg Hackney. He is 93% better than the average angler on day 3.
That's incredible.
That's incredible until you realize that last year, I don't know why we're talking about this to Todd Goade, but here we are. Last year,
cool.
Drew Cook was 117% better than the average angler on day 3.
Wow.
He was the assassin.
He caught bass.
That man caught bass. Well, and you know, like you, in especially in your Angler of the Year season, but in every year you've been in the NPFL, you've had strong performance. But that year, you were just a killer every day. You didn't have a bad day. You might have had a disappointing day, but you never had a bad day.
Yeah.
And that's what it takes to win AOI, and that's I like to see who's good on a certain day, because maybe it's an insight into how well they're practicing, maybe it's an insight into how well they're managing their fish, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But Drew Cook was a day 3 killer.
I want to give Greg a shout out at Norman too, because he mentioned me on live the second morning, and he had came in a place. We fished around each other. After I went back and watched the footage, I saw we were pocket hopping for a little while there, but he came in and asked if I minded if he fished the dock behind where I was, and I was like, no, go ahead, man, you know. And when he came out of there, we were talking, and I was fishing a really good dock, and in practice I'd caught a good one, and like 10 or 15 big ones come out with it. And then I told Greg that, and I think he mentioned on live that he was looking for a dock like that. But he texted me and said, I just want to let you know I never made a cast on that dock in the tournament. And my reply was, I knew you didn't, because we're kind of around the same age, and people our age just don't do that. So
he's a standout. He's a gentleman.
Yep.
He's a talent. He's got
just
a lot of that going. A great guy.
Good dude.
He's going to be a credit to the NPFL, as he already is. And I wouldn't want to have to chase him in that AOI race.
No.
He wants this one.
For sure.
He really does. Had him on the show yesterday. He was terrific. But it's going to be I'm looking forward to the rest of the year, because there's an incredible amount of talent in the league this year, as there was last year. And Todd Goade, you're a big part of that.
Thank you. You talk about grinders, though?
Yeah.
We're going to have 4 grinders this year out of 6 events.
Yeah, the St. Lawrence should not be a grinder, but I assume you're talking about everything else.
No, this one will be a grinder. Norman was a grinder.
Eufaula is
going to be a grinder.
And Logan Martin in September will be tough.
12 a day at Logan Martin is going to be really good in the end of September. So
it is going to be a challenge there for sure. So I think you're right. This is going to be a true test of the best this season.
I think it will.
It's not going to be an easy one to win. For a guy like Greg Hackney, who already has an FLW AOI title, a BASS AOI title, I know he wants this one bad.
No, that would be cool, since I don't have a chance to win it this year. That would be cool.
You still do. You just got to get on your horse. Hey, if you are to have a chance to win it again this year, it would have to start right here in your backyard.
Yep, I got to get all the points here if it's going to even remotely.
You would need a top 3-4 finish, I would say, to get that done.
Yeah.
But I am rooting for you, Todd Goade.
I appreciate it.
By the way, you do a terrific column on the NPFL website. That's the NationalProfessionalFishingLeague.com. Check out Todd's column. It's out there every Thursday. It's a fabulous mix of his experiences on the tournament trail and wonderful tips. Wonderful tips from a top flight angler. He's got some stuff coming up. We're not going to do it this week, but you've got a great one next week on cranking, deep cranking especially. And the reason we're not doing it this week is because, folks, you're going to be so riveted in the live stream on Friday and Saturday, and you're going to be glued to the weigh-in on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, so there won't be any time to do any actual reading. But check out Todd's column. It's first class.
Well, thank you for having me. I mean, this league and this time in my life, you know, this 6-event schedule works really well with my business. And, you know, I work for my title sponsor, Safe Haven, too. I do some work for them. And it's just, life is really good right now. So it's
check out Pulse Fish, by the way, too. You got some stuff on Tackle Warehouse, but you also have your own site where you're selling things.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we have a really good e-commerce business. Got a lot of new products coming out here in the near future, too. And, yeah, business has been great there as well.
That's awesome. Todd Goade, thank you, sir. We appreciate you, brother.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me, as always.
My pleasure. Folks, I got a little bit of wrapping up here to do. I want to tell you all about the tournament. That's going to about do it for this edition of Roundtable, but I want to thank everybody for joining us and for supporting the NPFL. That is a big deal to me. That's a big deal to all of us who work hard to make sure that you have an opportunity to check out what these guys are doing on the water, learn more about the great sport of bass fishing. It's a really rewarding sport, a really rewarding hobby. We know you enjoy it, and we appreciate your support. There's another way, though, to support the NPFL, and that is to buy some apparel. We call it Wear the Pride. I have got an NPFL cap on right now that I just love. I wear it all over the place. You can get one, too, if you go to the nationalprofessionalfishingleague.com. Check out the shop icon on there, the link for shop. T-shirts, hoodies, fishing shirts, caps, all right there. I think there's even some baby apparel, so check that out. Order online. You can even come on site. If you're anywhere near the Douglas Dam, where we're going to be putting out of for this event and also weighing in fish, you can pick up some apparel right there. Wear the Pride. That's all going to be happening at the Dandridge Boat Ramp. Launch is going to start a little after 6 a.m., so get out there, meet Todd Goade, meet Greg Hackney, Drew Cook, Patrick Walters, Kyle Welcher, Louis Fernandez. Get autographs, talk with them, get some tips. Weigh-in's going to start at 2 p.m. Thursday through Saturday. Another great opportunity to get autographs. An easier time, actually, because these guys are then coming off the water. But catch them coming off the stage, grab an autograph, meet the pros. Always a good time. If you can't be on site, don't forget that our live weigh-ins start at 2 p.m. Eastern, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You listen to Big Al McCullough, Bring the Boom. He is the best there is at that onstage announcing and bringing that excitement to those of you who can't be there in person. And our live stream with Luke Duncan and Fat Cat Newton is Friday and Saturday, days 2 and day 3 of the tournament. That starts at 8 a.m. and ends at 1 p.m. Eastern, about an hour before the weigh-in kicks off. My name is Ken Duke. I want to thank everybody for watching Roundtable. It only gets better from here because the tournament's about to start. We're at Stop 3 on Douglas Lake, starting Thursday. Do not miss it.